When he found out, and his research showed there was a problem, his funding was stopped. And anybody who is involved in that kind of work, any kind of research, like Dr. Ross Adey and not many others, will find that their funding is shut down once they show problems. So there's a kind of a cloak of secrecy around this. The Irish Doctors Environmental Association, a group of doctors who are interested in this issue, broadly interested in the impact the environment has on health. Things like chemicals, pollution in general, and of course the most all-pervasive pollutant that is out there now is coming from radio masts, as well as the power lines that may be very near your house, or even wires on the street that can be a problem. So the electromagnetic environment is having an adverse impact on our health, but the powers that be do not want to accept it. Letters from government departments will tell you that there is no scientific evidence. Now I know Bary will of course put that to bed and say there is scientific evidence, and there are lots of scientific evidence, but I'm not going to dwell on that. That's Bary's domain. I'm just going to tell you that the Irish doctors did a small piece of research back in 2005, and we launched it at an environment conference in Sligo, and it was the only piece of research ever done in Ireland, and it highlighted the fact that a certain group of people were reacting to electromagnetic radiation. They were electrically sensitive. They were allergic to electricity, like people are allergic to all kinds of things, as you know. And that sort of set the cat among the pigeons, because the following day the Sunday Times carried the and to be fair to the Sunday Times, they have given this issue a good airing, along with the Daily Mail and the Irish Times and the other papers, the Examiner and the Independent. So that there is lots of publicity. After the doctors' meeting there on the 23rd of February, we got exposure in all papers, and except medical papers. Would you not think that medical papers should carry that kind of thing? But we were reviewing the medical papers, and nobody in the group could find any evidence that they had reported on this issue. Yet the daily, all the three daily papers, local papers, and the Farmers Journal reported on it. We had a Dr. Gerard Oberfield as well as Dr. George Carlow. Dr. Gerard Oberfield is working in public health in the Salzburg area, and he is quite, and again, if you want copies of their reports, you can have them. The reports on the newspaper, we have copies, and we can give you them if you wish. But I'm not going to dwell on this, because later on I'm sure there'll be an opportunity of questions and answers. Basically, I'm saying that there are doctors around the world, not too many of them, do identify with this. The Irish Doctors Environmental Association are linked with the International Society of Doctors for the Environment. And this international society, more and more, is coming on board to recognise EMR, electromagnetic radiation, as a problem. Now, I'm just going to finish by reading a couple of paragraphs, because I could keep you here all night with the amount of stuff that we have on this. The Swedish Association, and by the way, most of the early work in this area came from Sweden. The Swedish Association for the Electrically Injured conducted a survey among its members in '97 as to whether their housing situation may have altered due to the electrical environment or the base station energies for mobile telephony. The replies provide a frightening and alarming picture. A total of 185 members sent in replies with reference to our question of whether they had been forced to move due to the electromagnetic environment caused by mobile telephone masts. 173 persons reported that they were forced to move due to this new EM environment. These moves took place from the years 1985 to 97. Among those who reported they were forced to move due to this new environment was one individual who had to move 15 times. 15 times. Now, one paragraph from this. People have lived in caravans, in the woods, in Volkswagen vans to get away from this, and John Ryan will tell you how he had to move out of his house for a period to get some respite. I had a call from a lady in Clonmel last week, almost in tears, wondering should she have to move. She feels sick in her home. There may be a strong beam of radiation there. We don't know. I'll find out tomorrow. But she doesn't know whether she should move, sell out and move. That's a problem, because you may be going from the frying pan to the fire. Members of the Irish Electromagnetic Radiation Victims